The following Let's Play has been rated not safe for young children. Any attempts to break the game are for entertainment value only. However, if any typos happen to be found, Mwahaha! Hello everyone! Welcome back to this game. When we last left off, we were given the choice to choose our final team, who will be in our final fighting party. And rather than choose myself, I decided to let you all vote for me. And so, it's time to figure out what those results are. Let us start with who is not going to be in my final party. That person is Aquila. Aquila has been in my party more recently than everybody else, and he's been in my party for a while, so it makes sense that not many people would be interested in him anymore. As for how many votes he got 1/2 a vote. Sir Rosser couldn't decide. So it comes down to either Chanticleer or Jakala. I will say this, Jakala got 4.5 votes. And so, in order for Chanticleer to win, Chanticleer needs at least 5 votes. And so, the person that I will be taking in my final fighting party is... Don't you just hate it when contests on TV draw out the results like that? I mean, I can understand that they are trying to get a little bit of suspense going, but they wait for too long. Honestly, the only waiting that should be done is enough time for the host to open the envelope and look at the name. But I digress, the winner is Jakala. Chanticleer only got 1 vote. So Jakala it is, which makes sense since Jakala is going to be the healer. Also, apparently, in order to choose my final party member, Aquila had to be taken out, which is why Hrothgar is suddenly leading my team, even though I came here with Aquila leading the team. So, let's take a look at Jakala here. Obviously, he's at level 8, like everyone else, because, well, it would not be very fair if people not in your party didn't level up. So let's see, boy, he's got a bit of outdated equipment here. Well, not just equipment, I meant to say not equipment, I meant to say items, but yeah, he's got outdated items, including the spell ring. Let's see here, the spell ring, oh yeah, that was actually pretty useful. It's the thing that recovers his MP like every 2 or 3 turns. Considering he's going to be using a lot of spells to heal the party, that would be useful. However, I'm pretty much going to toss that, and as soon as I get to the other town, I'm going to go back to Aquila's town, where I'm going to sell off his stuff and buy him some more updated stuff, and I'll explain stuff then. I like how that wolf bows down to me every time I pass through town. Alright, before I sell off all of Jakala's stuff, I just want to point out his current weapon, Judgment, causes 20 damage. The weapon I'm going to give him, Reptilian Mace, causes 25 damage. I don't know if the fact that it's strong against ghosts will do anything, but whatever, it's more damage. Alright, time to go over stuff. First off, the Viking armor, or not the Viking armor, the ring that Jakala had. Even though it recovers MP automatically, I decided it was best to give him Thor's crest instead. Why? Well, this is why. That's gonna be very useful. And so, he's got quite the magic defense and defense there now. Gonna be useful since he's gonna be the healer in the party. I would put him in the back row instead of Lester, but Lester has the spell that allows him to... Which one is it? This one. He has this spell. It'd be nice to have that spell in reserve just in case. along with all the status buffs. But I also gave Chakala the Holy Armor, which does that, and gave the Viking Armor to Hrothgar, because the Holy Armor, once again, is going to really help Chakala survive. Now, let's go to his spells, because obviously he's learned a few spells since the last time we saw him. Let's see, we already knew that, I'm pretty sure. Did we know this one? No, this is the new one, Field Medic. A recovery spell that restores 60 HP and MP to all members of the party. While 60 HP and MP isn't a whole lot at this point in the game, because, I mean, look how much we have there, it's still going to be pretty useful. Then we get to Delay Crush, a smash that causes MP damage and may also stop the target. I'm not entirely sure I'll be using that too often. I mean, at this point in the game, I'm really not sure if status effects are even going to do anything. Let's see, Godsend Life. A recovery spell blessed by Heimdall that heals the party for 100 HP. It's just HP, not MP. And same thing with this one, this is just HP. Massive Restore, a clerical spell that heals the party for 200 HP but carries a high price. I'll say it does, it uses up 100 MP, so you'd really only be able to use it twice. Godsend Life, on the other hand, I'd be able to use it 6 times with a cost of 40 MP, and he has 240 MP. Godsend Life recovers the same amount to everybody that the Delicious Cake does, so I'm not entirely sure how much I use it, aside from if I run out of Delicious Cake. Now, here's a bit of a problem I have. We got Field Medic. It has a cost of 65, but since Field Medic recovers 60 MP, after you cast it, it's really only going to take away 5 MP. And then we go from 60 HP at a cost of 5 to 100 HP at a cost of 40. That's quite a leap. And then, of course, we got Massive Restore, which has the massive cost. I would have balanced it out better. Maybe have these two spells cost half of what they do, because it makes more sense to go from 5 to 20 to 50 than it does go to 5 to 40 to 100. By the way, I now have Lester leading the party because I did a little testing, and it turns out that in this current team of mine, in this final team of mine, Lester is the fastest runner. Now, here's a problem. This is, like I said, this is my final team. I do not have the option to change my team out. There was only 3 points in this entire game where I was able to choose my party, and okay, I can kind of understand why Chronicle Games would do that. In RPG Maker 3, you have a limit of 100 people in your entire game. The reason that limit exists is because every single person you create has their own stats and inventory, which was a terrible idea. Why did the people who make this game do that? That was bad grammar. I don't care. But in addition, you cannot move a person from town to town. So Lester here, way back in the beginning of the game, we initially found him in that one temple where we broke the spell of the light in the sky. Or not the light in the sky, broke the spell of darkness. And then he left our party temporarily, and we found him again at the church in our hometown. That was not the same Lester. As far as RPG Maker 3's database is concerned, that was a separate person. So to have this character in 2 different places took 2 different people. And so, typically, if you want to have a choice of choosing different party members in different locations, you'd have to have that person or a copy of that person in every single town. And considering Chronicle Games already has used up 84 out of the possible 100 people. That's not really possible. And to have it done by simply scripting would be way more complicated than it should be. The easy way out is just to have people, you go up to a person in your party and talk to that person, and that person joins your party. But with the character limit, that's not really a great idea. That's probably why we only have 3 points to choose our party. However, there is a way to handle this. You got this building here. This building was a private home. I went into the editor and changed it. It is now called Gathering House, and we can go inside. Nothing is inside here, I just want to open it up for demonstration purposes. So let's say you have a gathering house just like this in each town. And the gathering house is of this building type, where there's a staircase that leads up to another room. So here's my idea. Have an event right about here in the middle of the staircase. You go into the building and you step here, the event transports you to one particular gathering house, putting you up here. And in this one particular gathering house, this is where your party members would be. Everybody would get removed except for, just for simplicity's sake, we'll say that Hrothgar has to stay in your party no matter what. And then Hrothgar goes up to each person, and each person you talk to, you have the choice of bringing them into your party or not. And then once you're done choosing whoever you want in your party, you would step down here, and once you step here, another event will take you back to the house you originally entered. So, for example, we are currently in a town called Eowyn. Let's say the original gathering house is in Enith, because it's the only town name I can remember at the moment. So, we're in Eowyn, and we step here, and then we get transported up here in a house in Eowyn. This is where the party members are. And then we finish and we step down here, and the event on this staircase takes us back down to our last location, which is Eowyn. And you would keep track of which town to transport to as you come down with the use of variables. That is how you should probably... Well, it's a little late for Chronicle Games since this game is already finished, but for anybody else who is making an RPG Maker 3 game where you choose different party members, that's a good way of handling that. Alright, with all that explaining out of the way, let us head back to Bael. Hey, isn't Bael something the stuff that you throw up or something? I don't know. Oh, as soon as I get out here, I'm gonna show you something. Alright, so Hrothgar has this thing in his inventory that we won by completing a subquest. It is the Shroud Crystal. And the exact explanation is a magical object that wars off enemies and lowers encounters rates. So, here's how encounters are done in RPG Maker 3. There's different levels of rates that you can choose from for your map. You got a rate that is so high it's ridiculous, and I would have to hope nobody actually used that. And then you got stuff in between, and then you get to the lowest encounter rate, which is what this game uses, and I would have to hope that any RPG Maker 3 game uses. But below that is an encounter rate of 0. Now the Shroud Crystal lowers the encounter rate by 1 level. So if you're at the highest level encounter rate, it won't get rid of encounters, but it'll make them a little less frequent. But on the lowest encounter rate, which this game has, using this item will level it down to 0 encounters. And then this icon, load please, this icon on the right appears. Now, I should be able to head back to Bael, and there will be 0 encounters while that spell is in effect. It does have a time limit, but thankfully it does transfer between maps, and the time limit is decent. And thankfully, Chronicle Games did make the item infinite use, so if that thing ever runs out, I could just use it again. Also, you You do not have to wait for it to wear out to use it again. You can use it again once it starts wearing out, and then that'll refresh it. Now, I have some recapping to do. Oh, before I do the recapping, I was kind of hoping to do this during the day, but it's a long way till morning. So, let me show you something. You see how the snow is falling? I paused the game. The snow is still falling. You can kind of... You know what? No, I can't do this in the dark. You probably can't see a thing. I'm going to rest at the end here. Alright, let's try this again. I paused the game. You notice that it is still snowing. Now, if you wait a moment, eventually the snowflakes will stop. Apparently, pausing the game, even though it freezes the passage of time, it does not pause special effects. It just lets the effects play out, and once the effects play out, no more snowflakes are falling until I unpause the game. I thought that was interesting. Oh, by the way, that icon on the right, the whole no encounters thing, it pauses when you pause, or if you're in the menu, or if you're talking to a person, or in a shop. So, it's pretty... which way am I going? So you do not have to worry about it running out whenever you're not doing anything. Although it will run out if you're in town. Now then, I have recapping to do. Because there's been a lot of event stuff going on. Oh, you can see it's running out right now. But there's been a lot of stuff going on, so let me give a recap of everything that's been going on. So, at the start of the game, we had a curse start where it's been nighttime for 3 months straight. We break the curse, and then there's other curses, and there's these creatures called Chaos that are causing the curses. All of this seems to be linked to this thing called the Light in the Sky, which appeared roughly around the same time the first curse appeared. So legend has it that whenever it's nighttime and the stars are out, well, all the stars are revolving around us, and I can't remember what the explanation was for the stars, unfortunately, but they said that out there is the void, and that's where the sun, the moon, and the stars are, and they all go around us. This was talked about by the scholars from many centuries ago, and people accepted it as fact. But many centuries ago, there was also this person named Oberkotter, and he was the one person who decided that all the other scholars were wrong. And he was the only person who actually credited his work. All the other scholars were anonymous. As it turns out, though, Oberkotter's discoveries got him in a bit of trouble as somebody wanted him silenced. So Oberkotter disappeared along with various people that he knew. And so that's why people accepted the void as fact. But as it turns out, Oberkotter's discovery was that the stars in the sky are actually holes in the sky. And when the holes in the sky gather together, they form an Oberkotter cluster, which is, in fact, a light in the sky. And that light in the sky is probably how the Chaos got here, because the Chaos are from another world, and they're being led by a guy named Loki. Now, there are many worlds out there. There is a tree of worlds. And we happen to be neighboring a world that is complete darkness. There's 3 world types. There's the worlds of light, there's the worlds of darkness, and there are the worlds of balance. We live in a world of balance. Loki comes from a world of darkness. Loki has come here because he wants to find out what it's like to hang out in a world of balance. Which, I gotta admit, is actually a pretty interesting motivation for a bad guy. The problem is, first off, Loki for some reason has decided that as long as he's visiting, he's going to destroy towns and cause weird weather effects, like snow. The real problem is, according to this rabbit thing here, his intrusion in our world is sort of going to make both his world and our world blow up. And Loki doesn't seem to really know that, so we're going to be going to this area called Between Lands, which is the gateway to between our world and his world, and we're going to tell him to knock it off or else we're all going to be destroyed. So let's go ahead and talk to this rabbit after I make sure I am completely ready to take on this task, because the rabbit says that once he sends us to the Between Lands, he's not going to be able to return us until we defeat Loki. Which means all these items are going to have to last, because I'll honestly be surprised if there's any place ahead that allows me to buy items. Although there will probably be treasure chests, hopefully. By the way, there is one weather effect we haven't seen in this game. There is a sky setting where the sky looks really alien. And I don't mean the blood red sky, I mean really freaky. I also don't mean the dark in the sky either. That's something else. So who's willing to bet that this other world that we're going to be going to is going to be having a freaky sky? I can open the cluster at any time you're ready. Oh, and as a reminder, this Guardian is a Guardian in name only. His job is pretty much to watch over the cosmos, and when something goes wrong, he sends somebody else to do the work. What's up with that? Do you want me to open the cluster now? Sure. Alright, here I go. Aww. You didn't use any warp effect? Well, here we go. Between Lands. Really freaky sky. Along with freaky music. If you can call it music, just listen to it. Yep, we're definitely in between dimensions. So, the only place that I can see that we need to go is up there. Oh. I probably should use the Shroud Crystal. There are going to be enemies out here. Also, by the way, you see that tower over there? That's the final dungeon. Yay! But there are enemies out here, and I'm curious if I should show them off, or if I should just avoid them all, because I don't want to use any spells or such, because, well, I can only have these items to last me for the rest of the game. Whatever, I saved. So let's move on, and if we encounter anything, we'll fight it and see what they do. Definitely some freaky music going on here. And very appropriate. This is definitely, with the music in the sky, you definitely get the sense that we're sort of in between two different worlds. I am surprised we have not fought any encounters yet. Oh well, we're going to go into a final dungeon, so we'll probably find stuff in there. Well, you can see where this is, so let me jump cut, and we're here. That was easy. So no encounters, huh? That's kind of interesting. I thought there would be encounters out here. Maybe I'm wrong. Just in case, though, I'm gonna say, you know, this is the last save point in which I am in the main world. So from here on, this file remains untouched. And just in case, I might leave this file untouched too, because this file is from before I chose my final party. So I guess I'll stick with this save file. If it turns out for some reason I want to choose a different party, I'll have the option. But for the time being, I'm sticking with Jakala. That's what everybody voted for, and probably is the best choice. Alright, let's head into the final dungeon. There's a statue there. Along with a door, and a statue guarding the door, huh? Well, that's either going to be a puzzle in which we're supposed to go through these other rooms and solve the riddle of the dungeon, or that's going to be a boss fight. In any case, it's probably smart to go through these other doors first, just to see. Oh goodness, are you kidding me? This situation is looking pretty interesting. Alright, which one should we choose? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by the toe. If he does stuff, I don't know the rest, so I'm just going to choose the middle one. Lester opened the treasure chest. There was a negling inside. It's a sword. Is it like the blue sword and the not blue sword? Well, this means that I'm going to have to get rid of something, so... let me see here. I want to keep the dragon cuts, as many of those as possible, because Azar Jakala's really costly spells, I'm going to be need to using them a lot. Alright, I'm tossing a delicious cake. So what is this here item we got? It is Nigling, a legendary blade not known to exist in the world. Well, yeah, I guess that makes sense. It's got a nice attack power, so who equips it then? Is it Ariel's weapon? Ah, it appears to be Ariel's weapon, so let's give it to Ariel. And we'll toss the red sword next time we find an item, which will probably be in these treasure chests. There was a Majora's Mask inside. It's a hammer, which means it goes to Chikala. Well, so much for the reptilian mace. Oh, I cannot take it off? Nah, whatever. I'll toss the red sword and then pass it over. And so the Majonia is a legendary hammer not known to exist in the world. Of course. So, there in the other room across the hall, is that also going to be 3 treasure chests with new weapons? I'm kind of surprised you don't actually have us hunting around for these secret weapons. They're pretty collected and out in the open. Oh no, it's an axe. I bet that's a legendary axe not known to exist in this world. A legendary axe not known to exist in the world. We're probably going to toss that because that would belong to Aquila. And obviously, Aquila's no longer in our party. Well, technically he is, because everybody on my team who has joined is still with me. They're just not actively taking part in battle. So, that's going to be pretty easy to toss. Let's see, a Gugnir. That sounds familiar. That's obviously Chanticleer's new weapon, so we don't really want it. So the last 2 are obviously going to be Lester's and Hrothgar's items. There was an Excalibur outside. Gee, I wonder who that belongs to. And because I knew this one is going to be Lester's, I decided to toss away his current weapon ahead of time. There was a Tiaha inside. So let's see here. The sword, the Excalibur, I still gotta equip it. Legendary blade, etc. It's not really any more powerful than the other legendary weapons, is it? And then Lester gets this thing. Legendary. Oh, that's different. So, attack up 25 damage and magic up 30 damage. Well, considering his spell, this is the only spell that causes damage that we're going to use is Fault Line. So, well, it'll be kind of useful to have that extra boost, but yeah, so let's go ahead and equip those real quick. I don't know what my line of thinking was. I was trying to think something, but it sort of slipped my mind. And that leaves this statue here. What is this statue? Well, considering these 2 rooms on the side were not containing boss battles, let me try that again. Considering neither of these rooms on the sides included switches or levers or what have you that made the statue disappear, odds are pretty good that this here statue is going to be a boss battle. We're going to fight that boss next time.